Hello and welcome back to Kilimo na Kenagro. Today we're in Eldoret, Uasin Gishu County, and in particular we're in Sololo Agriculture Limited. And as you can see, beauty lives here. Now today our focus is going to be on flower farming. We are going to learn from the farm manager here at Sololo what it takes to have an amazing crop as far as flowers are concerned. He's also going to tell us about Sololo and how long it's been in production and what it takes every day running of the farm, and also when it comes to harvest per day, harvest per year, and everything in between. Also, we're going to speak to our resident agronomist from Kenagro, and he's going to be able to teach us about flower farming from the agronomist point of view, from the crop management, pest and disease control, hygiene, and also nutrition and everything that it takes to be able to have a successful crop. Now, did you know that Kenya is #1 in the production of cut flowers across Africa? Globally, we are #3, and that is just in terms of the cut flowers. When it comes to exportation of flowers from Kenya, we export to over 60 countries globally, and we are ranked 4th in terms of exportation. That must mean that flower farming in Kenya means something in the world. So today, if this is what you've always wanted to learn about flower farming, this here is just the video for you. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for having us.
Asanteni, karibu.
Mmetukaribisha hapa Sololo vizuri sana.
Karibuni sana.
Na pia wewe karibu katika Kilimo na Kenagro.
I appreciate it.
So maybe tell us your name and what you do here at Sololo and a brief history of Sololo.
Thank you very much. So my name is Reynolds Chirchir. I'm the production and technical manager in Sololo Agriculture Limited. Sololo came to existence in 2019 as part of cyan flowers, the bigger cyan flowers. We do grow summer flowers, roses, and avocado. So that's our main business in Sololo.
Ah, fantastic.
Thank you.
So maybe you can give us a breakdown of, in terms of your production.
Thank you very much. So in Sololo, in total, we have an area of 42 hectares. We have an indoor area of around 18 hectares and an outdoor area of 24 hectares. In terms of crop types, we do have 8 hectares of spray roses and 34 hectares of summer flowers.
First of all, what are summer flowers for anyone who does not know what that is?
So summer flowers typically is just a flower that is an annual. So these are the flowers that bloom in summer. That's why the name summer flowers. For rose has been a traditional flower for a long time. But now we see a shift in preference, customer preference.
People are adapting.
Yeah, people are now moving to some new stuff. Like even the greeneries is a big thing. You don't need to have a rose for you to have a bouquet. You can have a summer bouquet, and it still serves as a nice flower.
Or a
nice
mixture
bouquet.
as well.
Yes. So summer flowers is essentially something that is non-rose.
So Ray, I understand that you export globally. We don't just use your produce here. In fact, the export is what you do more, right?
Yes.
So that being the case, there must be a standard for the market when it comes to quality. So when it comes to a crop that you've harvested, when you have your production, what is considered quality crop? When you've had your harvest, what are the key things that you want your flower to have, whether it's color and everything in between?
Thank you. So typically flowers is all about aesthetics. It's what appeals to the eye. Yeah. So number one, a good flower should have an appealing color. Yeah. We have different color shades, but the color should be appealing. That's number one. That's the first thing that will hit you when you look at a flower.
Yeah.
Number two, a flower should be of good length, because you can't have a short flower.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the market, because the market have a range of
so
stem length that they need.
What is the standard when it comes to length?
Yeah, it depends with your market. So for direct market, you need shorter stems, 40, 50, and 60 centimeters. For the wholesale market, you will need like longer lengths and heavier stems. So it depends with who you are targeting. So for you to have a good flower, you must understand your customer. Yes, of course, all flowers are good, but also you have to understand who is your customer.
Yeah.
Yes, and then also a flower, you need to have a good head size. For roses, for example, you need there are different specs for different customers.
So by head size you mean?
Yes, the head size.
Okay.
Yes, some will need bigger head sizes, which is the best actually. And also for you to get these head sizes, it depends with your growing conditions. And if you are in a lower altitude, you will get smaller head sizes. If you're in a higher altitude, you will get more premium, bigger head sizes. Yeah. So typically that's qualities of a good flower. And of course, last but not least, should be free from pests and diseases.
So when it comes to your harvest, how much do you harvest maybe in a day? If harvest happens every day, how much do you harvest annually?
Yes, thank you. So our planning is year-round. We have events throughout the year, which we try to plan for them. For example, right now we are on Valentine period. So you'll find that our planning for Valentine will have more of the red flowers during this season. When we go to Mother's Day, we'll have more of the reds and pinks. When we go to Easter, we'll have more of the yellow flowers. So it all depends on your planning. So you'll find that year-round, you can have an average production for this area of around between 100 to 150,000 stems on average. But there are seasons that you'll be low because the market will be low in Europe, especially when it's summer in Europe. And sometimes we'll be high, right? Like right now during Valentine, we are doing more than our average because we now try to make sure that we maximize and sell during this period. And you need to know which markets you are targeting. Yes.
What is your main market? Who do you export to?
Our main market is in Europe. Our main market is in Holland, Norway, UK. So this is our biggest market in general. We still have some markets in Australia. We still have some markets in the Middle East. Middle East is now coming up as a big market. And also in Africa, we still have some countries we can supply to. We still have some market in West Africa and in South Africa. Yes.
So what are the challenges of flower farming?
So thank you very much. So in flower farming, a lot of challenges are now coming up. Number one, being the cost of production. The cost of production is really going up. From fertilizers to chemicals, the cost is really going up currently. So that's number one. Number two, for flower farming right now, we have a lot of challenges with air freight. The air freight is quite expensive at the moment, and it's really hitting hard on flower growers. And we need more of government support to help us because this is an industry that generates a lot of revenue for the country. And then number three, which is now the biggest issue for the rose growers, is FCM, which is the false codling moth. It is a quarantine pest in Europe. And we are really hit hard because we've seen this pest progress all the way from 5 years ago. We have a lot of restrictions now from Europe. We have a lot of requirements that they want us to comply to, which is quite expensive. So it's been a pest of economic importance to us, and we've seen even some growers being banned from exporting when they find this pest in their flowers. So it's been really a challenge for us. You can imagine if you are restricted from exporting for even a month, give it even a day, how much loss you can run into.
Yeah, because if you're saying you harvest 100,000 stems in a day, if you lose one day in itself.
Yeah, it's a lot of flowers. So this is the biggest challenge right now, specifically for the roses growers. Yes. Okay. Also another challenge that I can say is the weather challenges. We've seen a change in the weather trend. We always have a trend for weather trend for a long time. You know when is the rainy season. But you can imagine last year we had a lot of rains that we've never seen. So many growers lost their crops because of too much rains. There are a lot of diseases now because of too much rains. We get a lot of downy mildew in the greenhouses. So we saw a lot of losses due to change of this weather. So the change of pattern is really worrying for us as growers. Yes.
So what I'm getting is that flower production needs a lot of care.
Needs a lot
you
of
have
care.
to, at any time, you have to be on your toes.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for everything you've been able to teach us. We'll be able to speak to you a little later on more. But for now, as you've mentioned, he's mentioned, there's challenges and many things that happen in between flower farming that needs a lot of care. So this is where, as Kenagro, we come in. So for now, we're going to get into the agronomist segment, where our resident agronomist from Kenagro will be able to teach us everything that it takes to have a flower farm that is successful while using our products from here at Kenagro. Come with us to the agronomist segment. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Badia karibu.
Asante.
So wewe leo ndio utakuwa our resident agronomist. So tell us who you are.
I'm Obadia Nganga, Kenagro Suppliers Agronomist, covering floriculture, pomology, and horticulture countrywide. In floriculture, we cover flowers. In pomology, we cover fruits. And horticulture, we cover vegetables. Also in the same department, we cover the plantations, cereals for wheat, barley, maize, and sugarcane.
Fantastic.
Asante.
So we've been able to speak to Ray, the farm manager here at Sololo. So we've learned about flower farming from the perspective of a flower manager and what it takes. So now we want you to take us through flower farming from an agronomist point of view, and when it comes to pest control, disease control, what it takes. So maybe start with pest control. As far as flower farming is concerned, what are the pests that are prone to appear on flower farming and how to mitigate them?
Thank you, Mildred. Now, in matters pest management, we usually start with other options under IPMs, and we conclude or have the chemical option as the last resort. And whenever we talk other options that falls under IPM, they include the following. One is the cultural practices. And the cultural practices is about the greenhouse hygiene. Hygiene comes in sweeping, removal of the debris. Because in these debris, they act as the harbor points to pests and diseases.
That is where they hide.
Yes. For example, when we have pests, they usually pupate in the soil or the debris. So by sweeping and getting away the debris that are within the crop, you are taking a lot of pupa stage and you are getting them away from the greenhouse. Same to the disease. When we have affected leaves by powdery or down mildew, they fall. And they have the inoculum now. That is the pathogen that usually come and cause the diseases. Whenever we do the sanitations, we sweep them away and remove them. We are taking a lot of inoculum with us, then we are only remaining with a very sanitized area. Number two, it comes to the mechanical part of pest management. And this one involves the management of our curtains, having the nettings that will not allow the pest inside, but at the same time they can allow a proper air circulation. Under the same, we also have the roller traps and the sticky traps that are within our range, which usually supply us Kenagro. Those are the traps that usually traps the insect pest. Drips usually flies, white flies. We have the color that usually attracts each specific pest. For example, the yellow roller traps and the sticky cards attracts more white flies than drips, and the blue roller and the sticky cards attracts the drips. From there, we come to the biological control part of it. This will involve the EPFs. EPFs are entomopathogenic fungus, the fungus that usually cause diseases to the insect pest. We also have the biopesticides, and we have the predatory mites. Still, in trap, we have the sex pheromone traps. In these, we usually have the lures that usually attract the male. So by trapping males, and we encourage asexual reproduction, more males are produced, and we trap more and more. This keeps the population on shrinking. And we have a special pest, the mealybugs. The males are not pests. We trap the male, which will never damage the crops. But if it happens to mate the female will bring the more females, which are the pest. So by killing the males and avoiding the mating, more and more males are produced that are not pests because they don't damage our crop. They don't have the mouthy parts. They are only born and live for mating. Now, from there, we come to our EPFs. Those are the fungus that control the insect pest, the bacteria, and the virus. For ourselves, we have the bacteria and the biopesticides. Also, we are in the course of introducing the fungus. Our bacteria that usually manage the caterpillar eggs, immediately they hatch at the first instar, is our biokill. Our biokill here, we usually recommend a spray.
Okay.
And we usually target the biokill when we anticipate the matings of the moths in the fields. And we usually recommend a weekly programs. Every week programs. Let me explain something about the biokill and how it will go about working. When we have the bacillus spores in the crop, they usually cover the shell of the eggs. And when immediately this eggs is hatching, it ingests the bacteria in it. Now at the first level inside of the caterpillar. And immediately it gets into the gut. It multiplies until it renders the caterpillar antefidance and it dies out of starvation even before causing the initial damage. And that's why we usually recommend this. Do a religious program for biokill when you're anticipating you are headed to a season for caterpillars. Now, from the BT or the bacillus control, we usually have the biopesticides. And our first biocontrol is our matrine that trades under the name Biomats. This is a plant extract that has insecticidal activity. It kills the insect pest. We usually harvest for the management of the mealybugs, whiteflies, thrips, and caterpillar. So in this, it falls under good control program where you can alternate it with a conventional insecticide. From there, in the same biopesticide range is the Pyreton. Pyreton is our bioinsecticide made in Kenya. This is a knockdown biopesticides for the management of thrips and caterpillar. Doing well, falls under proper regulations because it's one of the products that's approved by the food experts. They're recommended for the use in flowers and vegetables. Now, coming to our range of conventional pesticides, we usually have special products that we usually have as a novelties in combinations. We usually have combinations of IGRs and knockdown, mass action, or stomach action pesticides. For example, we have our Protap. Protap is one of the best products that we have for the management of FCM. FCM has become the major or a concern pest in the flower industry. It is a moth that behaves different from the rest of the moths in that, unlike other moths whose eggs are round or oval and deposited in specific area of the crop, this one is different as in how. Number one, it is not cream or white like the rest of the moth's eggs. It is translucent. For the shape, it instead of being round all over like the rest is flat. And you can easily confuse it even with a chemical residue on the crop. So it calls for training to be able to identify this. Number two, unlike other moths' larval stages, biting and chewing the foliage part of the crop or flowers, this one, it burrows inside the stem. If it was laid at this point, or inside the flower head, if it was laid at this point. So immediately the larva hatches, it burrows inside. So it becomes so difficult to identify it and to control it. Now, revisiting the hygiene process, practice in managing the FCM. We said we have to practice the greenhouse hygiene by collecting the debris, removing the dead part of the crop, removal of the agrobacterium. This is the agrobacteriums. Because these are among the areas that you usually see the moths laying their eggs and the larvae burrowing down inside here. And if they are inside, either inside the agrobacteria, inside the flower stems, or inside the head of the rose, you target it using the contact insecticides. So hygiene comes key. Still in the same, pheromone trapping becomes very key in managing this. Having the big T, the bacillus, the biokill, spraying it to kill it before it burrows inside becomes very key. And if we go past that stage, now is the point that we come to our confectional program that we said it should be the last
result.
Now. Now we have the combination, as I said. We have an ideal and a different actioning molecules combinations. For example, we have our Venari here, which is a combination of chlorophenepine, which is an ideal, and an emamectin benzoate. Recommended for the controls of thrips, FCM, and helicobacter, and general caterpillar.
So there's a wide range of pests that can be mitigated just by the use of this one product, Venari.
Yes. But we usually recommend this. To manage the resistance, as I said earlier on, you have to keep alternating. Because, for example, now, if you happen to have the white flies, all have the thrips, all FCM in this house, you have all the stages of it. By the first applications, every pest that came into contact with this either will be killed, or if it doesn't get enough to kill it, it have sensed, or it will have ingested, or the body will have gotten in this chemical. So we recommend 2 sprays, then you shelf it. You come with a different combination that has a different mode of action from this. Trying to understand the thrips, you have to check into this life cycle and understand which is this most vulnerable stage. Thrips, you can identify them hovering over the crop, especially when temperatures are either too high or too low. They are hiding in the crevices of the petals, inside here, deep here. And when the temperatures are favorable, they are out. This might might fail to coincide with the time at which you are spraying. So if you happen not to get them, it means they have survived that spray.
So that's the need to understand how they operate.
Their behavior.
Okay.
Number 2 is the pupa stage. Remember I said this, by practicing proper hygiene in the greenhouse, taking away the debris, you are taking a lot of the pupa stage that you're pipetting on the debris and on the grounds. You take it away, you reduce on the next population. And the most difficult point at the managing the larva or targeting the larva stage is in that larva stage is an unfeeding stage, is a dormant stage. Remember we said adults, they are hiding. You might miss them. Now coming to the eggs. Eggs of the thrips are usually laid inside the soft melistems of the crop, like these ones, or like this one. These are the soft melistems. The larval stages, immediately after hatching, they are usually underside the leaves. Because they hatch from the soft melistem, then immediately leave they are here, so down here.
They are exposed, they are not hiding,
Good.
they are not
dormant,
they are just on the surface.
Very good. Number 2, they have just hatched. So they have not developed the proper exoskeleton, so chemical can easily get
into
inside
the system.
Now understanding the days that it takes for the first and second larval to come into from hatching, you coincide your spray program to that.
So at any point you have to be very vigilant, do your walks across the farm. At any time you know what is going on with your crop.
True. We usually have the scouting report that usually daily or every second day or that day we have a report. So if the greenhouse was scouted today, by the third day from today, latest, we must be having another report from the same greenhouse.
So Obadiah,
Yes.
you've taken us through pest control. So now I want you to take us through disease control, the diseases that affect flowers and how to control them.
Thank you. Talking about the diseases that usually affect the flowers and mainly losses, there are three of them. One is downy mildew, caused by Peronospora sparsa pathogen. Number two is a powdery mildew, caused by Spilotheca panosa. And number three is botrytis, caused by botrytis cinerea. All are fungal diseases. And the first two, that is the downy and botrytis, are favored by similar environmental conditions. Within Kenagro, we have a range in management of these three fungal infections in flowers. Now coming to downy mildew management, we start with the preventative program. In the preventative program, we usually talk of the mancozeb-based products and the benzoic acid-based products. For our case, we have the two. We have Kenven being our mancozeb that usually spray to prevent the downy mildew. Also, we have the Ipelion, which is copper. You can also spray to prevent the downy mildew. Also, we have the benzoic-based product, that is the pathokill. Pathokill kills the pathogen. Pathogens are the spores that usually comes and cause the diseases. Remember, for the downy mildew, we talked of the Peronospora sparsa.
Yeah.
For the botrytis, we talked about the botrytis cinerea. So those spores, in fact, the spores are the seeds that usually grows. The fungal grows, and the fungal now affects the crop. Botrytis, mainly the head botrytis, it affects the petal moisture, but also we have the stem botrytis. For the down mildew, it attacks the young leaves. The young leaves. And those are among the signs that we usually talk whenever we talk, or we talk about the down mildew. And whenever you turn that leaf underside, you have the flavy things. You can see that fungal growing there. When the disease strikes, we now come to the curative program bit of it. For our case, we have the best among the best combination for the management of the downy mildew. And our best selling, or our best performing product is our Vanguard, which is a combination of cymoxanil plus formoxidone. This is a curative product. It has two actives, that's the cymoxanil and formoxidone, that cures. The reason for having the two active is to have a synergy in managing the disease. Also in resistant management. Because with this, we will be having more than one site of action, or more than one mode of action.
So apply these when all preventative measures have failed.
Good. Still in the same, we usually have a combination of metalaxyl plus propomocap hydrochloride. That is top deal. The two are systemic and curative. We usually recommend the metalaxyl for curative of any infection that you are seeing, a contact, and also systemic. Same thing to propomocap hydrochloride. And now, talking of a propomocap, is a good systemic, curative, and preventative. So rotating Vanguard with stop dew will properly manage your down mildew. We usually recommend an interval of between 3 and 5 days when you are in the weather, disease-prone weather, and already you have recorded the first cases of infection of down mildew. Now, coming to botrytis. Botrytis is also favored by equi conditions that favors down mildew.
So the cold,
high humid weather. Your RH should not always go beyond 80%. At 85%, we have the condensation on the leaves. And the two pathogens usually require free waters that we can easily have it from the condensation for them to strike the crop. And it is usually very dangerous. You can cross the day without botrytis, then tomorrow in the morning, the whole crop is affected by botrytis. Same thing to down mildew. And that's why we usually monitor our 24 prevailing weather condition in the greenhouse so that we can know when and how to manage our RH in the greenhouse by opening our vents. Those are the vents and the side curtains to lower our RH. For the botrytis, we preventatively manage it with our Powdery, which is a benzoic-based product. Another product that we have also doing so well on the management of the botrytis is Fresh Guard, which is Mercilil. Mercilil is a good product in that it falls in a totally different mode of action from other botryticides. So, in the big range of botrytis-based products, you can comfortably rotate it with our Mercilil because you'll be having a totally mode of action from the rest of the product. From there is our Botrinil, the new product that we're having for the same. That has two actives for the management of the same, which are curative. So when you start your preventative program with our pathogen, you can follow it after 4 or 5 days with Fresh Guard. Then from there, if the weather is still persisting for the fever of the same, you can go with our Botrinil as a tip.
So Obadia, when we were beginning the diseases, you mentioned that there are 3 main ones. And so far you've already spoken about downy mildew and botrytis. So now I want you to talk to us about the final disease that you're going to be discussing today, which is powdery mildew.
Asante. Powdery mildew, unlike the first two, is favored by slightly different conditions, which is usually windy and dry conditions. Also, transition weather. That is from wet, cold weather to dry, hot weather.
And vice versa.
Those are the conditions that usually favors the germination and development of Spilotheca panosa, which is the powder. In our range of control of the powdery mildew, we have the preventative program that we usually recommend on the use of the sulfur. We have 2 products in sulfur. One is liquid sulfur that goes by the name of Sulpo, and powder sulfur that goes by the name of Azomo. Those are preventative measures. Now, in the curative program of powdery mildew, we have several products. We have spiloxamine, which goes by the name of spilomat. That is surely curative. Also in the same, we have our bupilimate that goes by the name of the nomate. Those 2 are curative, but of different mode of action. So when you are tried to manage your disease preventatively and it happened to strike, we usually recommend go for spilomat treatments, 2 rounds or 2 blocks at an interval of 5 to 7 days. Then from there, come to a block of treatment of nomate. Do another block of 2, and if the weather still persists, you can go to a 3rd block of treatment of our didomorph acetate that goes by the name of metadue. And within this program, you will have managed your powdery mildew. Yes.
Fantastic. So with those products, you've been able to fully mitigate the effects of powdery mildew.
Yes.
Fantastic. So you've taken us through pest control, you've taken us through diseases, and I believe now for anyone who is trying to get into flower farming, they are better suited to know how to be able to control these things. Thank you so much, Obadia, for this particular learning session. I believe that sasa we don't know flowers just from the point of kupatana nayo kwa barabara kupatiwa.
For sure. No.
Yes.
We can grow and we can crop protect it.
Thank you so much, Ray. You've been so insightful.
Thank you very much.
We've learned so much from you.
Thank you very
Na
much.
tumefurahi that you welcomed us here to Sololo, and we've learned from the point of view of a farm manager what it takes to be able to run 42 hectares of flower farming. We also had our agronomist Bwana Obadia. We thank you so much for having been with us for this segment. Asante sana, and we look forward to learn from you in other segments as well. So thank you so much, our viewers, for sticking with us from the beginning up until now. I believe that if you are very new to flower farming, today you've been able to increase your knowledge, and even you can be able to talk about flower farming from more than just buyer, customer, consumer. So thank you so much for sticking with us up until this point. So now give us a chance to go and go around this vast land and see the beauty that is Sololo Farm. Thank you.